Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wellness Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed our last week's travel edition. We had a great time in Colorado, and I definitely want to go back and see more of the state because there's just so much to do, so much we wanted to do, and so much more that can be done. It was really an amazing trip. So if you're just stumbling on my page, my name is Donna. I am a mom, a nana, a girlfriend. I am a best-selling author, personal fitness trainer, so many things, a grad student. I'll be starting grad school on October 9th to work on my master's of mental health counseling, which is super exciting. I'm also recently the part-time program director for NAMI Citrus. So as you can see, I'm a complete wellness advocate, and I started Wellness Wednesday because I have been on a lifelong journey battling depression and anxiety, and wanted to share some of my stories in hopes that they might help somebody else, and also want to invite you to share yours. So as we're talking about different topics on Wellness Wednesday, if you have ideas or tips that you'd like to share, please feel free to. We just try to refrain from politics or negativity. Not always easy to do, but we really try. And I hope that if you find anything on Wellness Wednesday helpful, that you will share it, and that you will comment. Let me know if there's a subject you'd like to see me cover, etc. So, I don't know why I didn't think about talking about music before. Good morning, Miss Erica. I don't know why I didn't think about talking about music before, because music has embodied most of my life. If you see me bebopping around, it's because there's music always going on in my head. And I know personally the benefits that it can have. And so it seemed kind of obvious, good morning, Miss Danielle, when I thought, oh, you know what, let's research a little bit more, because I know there's a lot of research that supports what music can do. So today we're going to talk about how music can affect you physically, and I am a little bit early today because I have appointments this morning, but let's get going. So how can music affect you physically? Today we're going to talk about physically. This is going to be a 2 or 3 part series, possibly 4, depends on how it fleshes out, because music has physical effects, it has mental effects, it can have different effects as you age, and help with cognition as you age. So there's a lot we can cover here. So like I said, let's get started. How can it affect you physically? Well, number 1, it decreases fatigue, and it's even used in cancer treatment. People that are in cancer treatment have shown promise from listening to different kinds of music to help decrease fatigue. Now, if you've ever rolled your window, and yes, I have notes over here and I have notes over here, so because you guys know I use websites, and if you want those links, just let me know and I'll drop them for you in a message. Anyway, if you've ever rolled your windows down and cranked the radio up, you know that music can be energizing, and that's one of the reasons that it can decrease fatigue. Additionally, it boosts exercise performance by cutting down your awareness of exertion. Now, I can speak to this personally. I have been running off and on. Good morning, Miss Kayla. I have been running off and on for years, and for a long time, I was training for half marathons and doing long runs on a regular basis without music to distract me from the little aches and pains and little thoughts in my head that said, you need to stop, you're crazy, why are you still running? I would have never been able to, I don't believe I would have ever been able to successfully complete 5 or 6 half marathons. I've lost count now. So it definitely boosts exercise performance because it cuts down on your awareness of your exertion, and it helps boost your heart rate and your blood flow and better use of oxygen. That's one of the reasons why even when you're not feeling well, it's recommended to get your body moving, because you want that blood flow and better use of oxygen to happen, especially when you're sick, right? So music helps to do that because it takes your brain somewhere else so that you're not focused on all of that negativity that could be going on, telling you, I don't really want to do this. Why am I working out? This hurts. That hurts. Oh my gosh, I'm going to die. Those kinds of things. Good morning, Miss Cindy. So it also, and because of that, it also increases your mental strength to push through the workouts a little bit differently. But we're going to dig more into the mental side next week. So it also reduces pain better than medication alone, which is one of the reasons why it's great for cancer treatment and for various types of pain management, because it gives your brain something else to focus on. I know that now this isn't as serious as cancer treatment or pain management, but I have 2 tattoos, and the last one was a 6-hour tattoo. It's a fairly large phoenix on the back of my shoulder, and it is color. And it was a 6-hour process because I am stubborn and absolutely did not want to go, have part of it done, wait for it to heal, and go back and go back again. I had been thinking about it for over 10 years, what I was going to do if I was going to have another one. And so needless to say, there's a lot of outline. It's a very detailed phoenix. And by the time he even got to color, my shoulder was raw. It was absolutely raw. Yes, Miss Cindy, it's great for dancing, which helps to lose weight, helps to keep you active, move that blood, move that oxygen, and great for mental state. All of those things work together. That's fantastic. So having the music that he was playing in the studio really helped to distract me, along with several mantras. I had a low opinion of my pain tolerance up until that day, but 6 hours, music largely helped me get through because it did in fact give my brain something else to focus on besides the needle on my skin. Also, it boosts the immune system by regulating stress, and studies have shown that it actually improves the biomarkers such as immunoglobulin A, that is a huge immune system booster. So music can actually boost your immune system for many of the reasons that I just discussed, which is, and Cindy, that you and I talked about, which is that it keeps your heart healthy. Different types of music, depending on what it is, can get the blood moving, increase or slow your heart rate as needed, depending on the situation. Music can improve sleep if you're choosing the right kind of music, like classical or something that maybe doesn't have lyrics, so you're not laying in bed singing or thinking about what the next line is going to be. If you're like me, you know what I'm talking about. So these are all the ways, and not all the ways, many of the ways that music can affect you physically in a positive manner. So what type of music are we talking about here? Well, it's really pretty much kind of a user's choice. So upbeat or faster paced, more intense music is often great for working out or cleaning. In fact, for runners, they recommend that you find songs that have specific cadences that will help keep your pace moving faster. I know personally that I have several different types of music on my running playlist. Some songs because they motivate me mentally, and some songs because they motivate me physically. And they have different paces, and I can tell that they have different cadences, which is kind of the beat of the song. And I can tell some songs that are more of a mental motivation for me sometimes are slower, and so I'm running a little slower during those songs, but my mind is drifting off and not paying attention to all the reasons it thinks I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. However, the ones that physically motivate me, that are a very fast cadence, definitely I find myself running faster, my pace is higher, and I exert more energy and I work harder than I feel like I'm working, which is because the music is distracting me. Now, I will tell you that I have tried running with motivational podcasts, and I have tried running with music. And the motivational podcasts are definitely a great mental distraction. So it probably depends on how you're wired. But ultimately, I always end up going back to the music for my runs and my workouts. So upbeat or faster paced, more intense music for working out. If you've ever put music on when you're cleaning and it's more upbeat and you notice that you get more things done and you get through your cleaning process faster, that is probably why. So if you haven't tried that before, try putting a little music on while you're cleaning. You might be surprised at how much more you accomplish and how much better you feel while you're doing it. My question to you would be, have you ever cleaned with music on versus without music? And do you see a difference if you think about it? So when I'm talking about cleaning, years and years and years ago, I worked for Movie Gallery. I know, there's a flashback for you. Video rentals. I think I was still there when DVDs first started coming on the scene. I'm really showing my age now. But at night when it was time to shut down the store and clean or do inventory or whatever, we would crank up the stereo, and we were often listening to more upbeat kind of technotronic stuff, dance music. And we would get so much more done and get closed up and cleaned up and out of there so much faster with that. So those are just examples of how that can work. Now, aggressive rock tunes, and that was actually how it was phrased in the article I was reading. Aggressive rock tunes or rap music can actually be very good for helping to process anger or having, because it creates a cathartic effect. So I can remember on numerous occasions, different jobs that I've held, even though, yes, I held one for 21 years. So it might surprise you that I remember past that. But if frustrating days, since I've always worked in customer service in some form or fashion, if I had a really frustrating day, sometimes getting in my car and cranking up something crazy, loud, and aggressive like The Offspring or Godsmack or something like that, and literally screaming at the top of my lungs on the way home to the music often had a very cathartic effect for me and enabled me to just kind of release that pent-up energy before I went home and continued on with my evening with my daughter, my family, whatever. So aggressive rock, again, depending on how you're wired. Cindy, that's an excellent point. We're going to talk about that a little bit more next week. Depressing songs can also create a cathartic effect. If you know you're dealing with something and you are having a hard time bringing it to the surface or getting into tears, sometimes older, slower, more depressing, for lack of a better way to put it, soulful music that brings out those feelings in you, songs that mean something to you that tend to make you tear up, can start that process. But the flip side of that is that if you know you are prone to depression or prone to rumination, sometimes that same music that is attached to a time or place that you're ruminating about or missing can actually create more problems than it helps. So again, it depends on how you're wired and what you're trying to accomplish with the music. So again, the aggressive rock tunes, the cathartic effect, sometimes that can be a very productive way. And you know what? If people are looking at you funny from your car from the car next to you, don't worry about it. They're not in the car with you. They don't have to hear you. But it can have a very cathartic effect and help you process anger, or like I said, pent up energy or whatever in a more productive way before you have to face more people that weren't responsible for how your day went. So again, it depends largely on personal taste. Classical, no lyrics for sleeping, for studying. There have been numerous studies done, and I honestly haven't tried it because a lot of times when I'm studying, I'm also writing. My field is a paper writing field. When I studied psychology in college, I swear all I did was write papers. And when I'm writing papers, I have to have complete silence so that I can focus and read back what I'm writing. It's a process for me. But there are numerous studies from kids to adults that indicate that when you are studying, when you are doing anything like that, classical music in the background that doesn't have lyrics so that you're not singing to it and being distracted by it at a very, very low volume can actually help. It can actually kind of light your brain up and help you focus and study better. So I promise you, when I start grad school on the 9th, I will be trying that, and that will be difficult for me, but I am a huge fan of piano music. So even if there's no lyrics, as long as it's not a version that I know has lyrics and I know the lyrics too, I should be fine. But it's definitely worth a try, and I will report back to you on that. So how long or how much music? Because we do have to kind of keep this short today, and we're going to dig in a little bit more onto details in the next Wellness Wednesday, especially on the mental side for how music can help. So how long or how much? Well, according to loudwire.com, a new study by the British Academy of Sound Therapy suggests that listening to 78 minutes of music a day is recommended for maintaining good mental health. Furthermore, it can only take an average of 5 minutes of music per day to feel happier. The study documented the effects of music on 7,500 people globally. So that's a very small sample. And they're projecting those results. If you've ever taken statistics, you understand this. They're projecting those results on the general public. But they studied the effect of music on 7,500 people globally. And based on the individual's experiences with music and mental health, the British Academy of Sound Therapy suggests a balanced diet, which I love that reference, of different moods of music is key. And if you've ever heard me and my music, you know it's all over the place, including sounds that make you feel uplifted, relaxed, motivated, and Cindy, even sad. Ultimately, a recommended intake of music each day includes, according to this study, 14 minutes of uplifting music, user's choice, whatever makes you feel happy and energetic. So 18% of your musical recommended daily allowance, 16 minutes of calming music, which can help lower your blood pressure, help slow your heart rate, help you feel relaxed. And that should be 20.5% of your music recommended daily allowance. And this is pretty technical. 16 minutes of music to overcome sadness. Again, user's choice. So if that's something that helps you shed some tears you need to shed over a situation, helps you cope with a memory, whatever, it's not necessarily a bad thing as long as you don't stay there and camp out. That's 20.5% of your music RDA. 15 minutes of motivating music, user's aid to aid concentration. Now that's where you might be talking about whatever motivates you to work out, or whatever motivates you to clean better, or focus harder on what you're doing. That's 19% of your music RDA. And 17 minutes of music to help manage anger. So again, the more aggressive stuff we're talking about that helps you, just like I said, have that cathartic release if you've had a rough day, if you're frustrated about something, whatever, to help manage anger is 22% of your music recommended daily allowance. So, do you need to stick to that exactly? No. But if you are an avid music listener, then you already know what types of music help you feel a certain way. And there is no such thing as too much music. There is a such thing as too much of almost anything, but music has amazing therapeutic properties, especially in terms of making you feel more energized, stronger, and just in general. And again, it's hard not to get into the mental state on this particular topic, which, like I said, we'll dig more into next week, because we already know, if you've been watching Wellness Wednesday, we already know that your mental state has a direct effect on your physical state. So again, there's no such thing as too much music. The American Music Therapy Association describes music therapy as the use of music in hospitals, outpatient clinics. This is actually a real thing, y'all. Rehab clinics, nursing homes, schools, correctional facilities, and substance use programs to help meet the medical, physical, emotional, and cognitive needs of patients. Yes, I was reading that because that was a direct quote. I will drop, there's actually a music therapist registry where you can find a music therapist if that's something you think will fit into your wellness repertoire. And I will drop a link for that registry in the comments. I do have an 8 o'clock appointment, so if I don't get it dropped in there before that, I will afterwards. And there was a couple other things. I feel like there was something else I wanted to tell you all. I think that pretty much covers it. I feel like there was something I was missing in this that I wanted to talk about. Some little factoids. Okay, here it is. Wilkes University researchers looked at how music affects levels of the immunoglobulin A, which is listed here as IgA, an important antibody for our immune system's first line of defense against disease. Undergraduate studies had their salivary IgA levels, we're getting technical here, y'all, measured before and after 30 minutes of exposure to one of four conditions: listening to a tone click, a radio broadcast, a tape of soothing music, or silence. Those students exposed to the soothing music had significantly greater increases in that immunoglobulin A. I'm going to mess up those L's. Had greater increases in that than any of the other conditions, the tone clicking, the silence, the radio broadcast, suggesting that exposure to music and not other sounds might actually improve innate immunity. So I thought that was really interesting, and I know that there's another study I ran across that they have found that with babies, that especially premature babies that are struggling, that are in ICU, music, especially recordings of their parents singing or their parents there actually singing, can have profound effects on how they progress while they're in ICU and as they're getting ready to go home. So awesome information. Of course, the physical and the mental, all that is tied in together. Next week, we're going to talk about the mental side of music and music therapy. And in the meantime, I would love for you to drop in the comments one song that really motivates you. Maybe it'll help somebody start a new playlist, something that motivates you, something that really makes you feel upbeat, that just jazzes up your energy and sends it through the roof, whatever. I would love to hear from you what that is. And we will talk more about this in part 2, where we kind of start to cover more of the mental and emotional effects of music. In the meantime, turn on your radio, your iPod, whatever. Put on the music that's going to get you moving, and let's have a fabulous Wellness Wednesday. Thank you so much. If you found this helpful, please share. And if you want the links that I was using for today's Wellness Wednesday, let me know, and I will send those. So shoot me a message or ask in the comments, and I will send you a message with those links. And I will also drop the link for the music therapy registry so that you can check that out if you're interested. So have a fabulous Wellness Wednesday. Have a fabulous week, and be well. And I'll see you soon. Bye.